everybody. Welcome you all to the watch party. We have Finding the Mountain of Moses with Ryan. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Happy Wednesday to all of you. We're halfway there, y'all. Hump day. Tomorrow, mama's got to go to the doctor. My back hurt. Y'all, I'm trying. But we are here for this. If you have not checked out the live stream we did last night, where we got a summary of so far day 1 and 2 of the Tyler Robinson prelim trial hearings. Make sure you go check that out. Hit the like button and hype these videos up. Tell YouTube you enjoying the content so we can keep this up in the algorithm. All right. We are excited, you all. Francisca say y'all better hit that like button like you mean it. Do what Francisca say now. Don't make her mad. And make sure you are subscribed to the Lady Luck Club. Turn on your notifications. If you have memberships, thank you so much for the support. Enjoy all that great content. I'm ready to get started. Juju is up in here. Shout out to all of you all, to the members, to the Lucksters, to the mods. I have the best mods on YouTube. Thank you all so much for your support and for holding it down. Mindy's up in here. Juju is up in here. Francisca's up in here. I appreciate all of you all. We're about to get up to it. Let's bring on up Ryan, who's here with us. What's going on, honey?
Hey. Nice to see you.
Oh, good to see you as always.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, you all. This is 25 minutes, but listen, we're gonna enjoy this. Okay, you have time today. You have time, Ryan. You got time?
Yeah, for sure. It's,
all right, we got time.
Yeah, I never get to talk about this film that much anymore because it came out in 2017. But Glenn Beck called it a game changer for mankind, and that's why it went viral. Woo! So I think your audience will like it, and I'll love seeing you guys. Make sure you react to different things and type comments in there because that's all. Yes. That's like how I do research. That's how I know what works and what doesn't, and it's enjoyable for me.
Awesome. So make sure you guys are engaged in that chat. Ask questions. We will be answering questions at the end.
Yep, I'll be here to answer questions until 7 o'clock. So the film's like 25 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Yep. So we're not gonna hold you all forever, but we got time to get through the film, and Ryan is gonna answer you all's questions, check out you all's comments, and we're gonna get right into it. Are you ready? His eyes ready.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness, you all. This is gonna be a real treat. Okay. Hold on. Let me expand this out. Let me drop the video link in the chat. Make sure you guys go and check out Ryan Mauro's YouTube channel and show some love to this video. Show some love and support to this video. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and make sure you hit that like button. This video has over 4 million views. Well over 4 million views. I'm excited. So let's get to this, you all. Hit the 4 where you can see in here. Let's go.
For generations, we have been taught that we had to believe the story of the Exodus on faith alone. We were told that Mount Sinai, where Moses received the 10 Commandments, was located in Egypt, but there was no real evidence to make it believable. No pictures of left-behind artifacts, practically nothing to validate one of the most important stories of the Bible. The Bible says over 70 times that the Israelites went out of Egypt to Midian, which would be mostly or entirely modern-day Saudi Arabia. Is it true that there is very little evidence that the Exodus story happened, or have we actually just been looking in the wrong spot? While the theory of Moses and the Israelites being in Saudi Arabia is a relatively new theory to those of us in the outside world, it isn't new to the locals living there. We were frequently approached by Saudis eager to talk to Americans for the first time face to face. And one of the first things they would say with excitement was, "Did you know Moses was here? Let me show you where he and his people were." The tradition that the mountain in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula is Mount Sinai only dates back to the 4th century AD. New research based on Jewish, Christian, and Islamic sources indicate that there is a tradition that is 600 years older. And according to that tradition, Mount Sinai is in northwest Saudi Arabia. This other tradition points to Jabal Makla, a peak on the mountain range known as Jebel al-Lawz, as the true Mountain of Moses. Several historical sources, including Josephus, recorded that Mount Sinai is the highest mountain near a city that is today called Al-Bad. Locals refer to Jabal Makla as Jebel Musa, the Mountain of Moses.
So you call this one Jabal Musa?
Jebel Musa.
One of the distinguishing features of this mountain is the blackened top that you can see right behind me. The Bible says that God descended upon Mount Sinai as a fire.
The blackened peaks stick out from the surrounding areas, and the rocks are only black from the outside. Researchers disagree as to whether the blackened rocks are actual evidence of God descending upon the mountain as a fire like the Bible says, or whether it's natural volcanic rock. A small handful of Americans tried to sneak into this area in the late 1970s and the 1980s. They were arrested, and their photos and videos were confiscated by the Saudi police. Their evidence was lost. However, images and videos slowly began leaking out to the outside world. According to those who snuck in and were arrested, these sites were being kept secret by the Saudi regime, a theocracy that hid them from the world using fences and police and the threat of force. As I tried to understand why the Saudis were hiding this important site, I began reaching out to sources in the Islamic world. For 15 years, I've been in the fields of intelligence, counterterrorism, and international relations, and one of my best contacts had a story to tell. He used to belong to a jihadist group, and he even had meetings with Pakistani intelligence and close associates of Osama bin Laden. And now, he's speaking out for the first time.
When I was in the jihad world, we all knew that the Mount Sinai was in Saudi Arabia. The people on the outside, even most Muslims, had no idea that it was there because we fighters didn't want anyone to know about it. We all knew that the Saudi government hid it and protected it with security, and we all agreed with it. We believe that if a site, even a holy site, is visited by people and used for idolatry, it should be destroyed. But our hiding it, according to the Islamic law, is what saved it, so you can see it today and appreciate it.
Moses flees Egypt after killing an Egyptian who he saw abusing one of the Hebrew slaves. He then escapes to Midian as a fugitive. In Midian, Moses sits by a well and he meets the daughters of Jethro who are getting water for his flock. Moses then marries one of his daughters.
We are in the ancient land of Midian right now, near the town that locals describe as originally being the land of Jethro.
When we visited this area, multiple Saudis approached us to tell us this is where Jethro and Moses resided. They excitedly pointed to an ancient well that is fenced off and marked as an archaeological site. The Saudis have long believed that this is the well where Moses met the daughters of Jethro, and Muslims from around the world come to see it. Second candidate is at Egypt's Nuweiba Beach. Dr. Glenn Fritz, who has a PhD in environmental geography, conducted a massive study of the land and all the historical references about where the crossing happened. He found only one exact match: Egypt's Nuweiba Beach. Nuweiba Beach is almost 5 miles long and 3 miles wide, providing enough room for the Israelite population to fit. Here, they'd be trapped with the mountains on both sides, the Red Sea in front of them, and Pharaoh's army right behind them. Amazingly, there is a path under the water from Egypt into Saudi Arabia. The path is not too steep. The Israelites could have easily walked across if the waters were parted. Underwater research by Dr. Leonard Moeller showed strange shapes in the coral, leading some to believe that the remains of Pharaoh's army are there. According to this theory, the coral wrapped around the debris from and 70 palms. Along the path to the possible real Mount Sinai, there is a match for Elam, with many palm trees and, to this day, 12 wells. Saudi locals pointed us to this location and specifically referred to it as Elam. Another major event by Mount Sinai is the incident with the golden calf. While Moses is up on Mount Sinai, some of his followers begin worshiping a golden calf. They place it up on a stand and begin worshiping around it, and they set up an altar in front of it. When Moses comes down from Mount Sinai, he destroys the golden calf and sprinkles its remains into the river that comes down from the mountain. Here, in front of the mountain, we have the remains of what may have been that golden calf worship site.
Now behind me, in this fenced-in archaeological site that the Saudis are protecting, you see both a stand with many petroglyphs of cows and people worshiping cows, as well as a structure that is slightly lifted that may be the altar in front of the golden calf stand.
There's a sign in Arabic and English warning intruders against going into the area. The local tradition that this is where the golden calf was is so strong that if you approach it, you'll be suspected of searching for gold. According to the Bible, the worshippers of the golden calf say, "These are your gods, O Israel." This verse indicates that there are multiple depictions of bulls as the Israelites are worshiping the golden calf. On the top of the stand where the golden calf would have been placed, there is a circular indent where the rock has been worn down. It's speculated that this is where Moses grounded the golden calf into powder. After Moses destroys the golden calf, 3,000 of the golden calf worshippers are killed, so there must be a spot where thousands of people were buried. About 4 miles from this site, there's a massive ancient graveyard. It appears to be a mass burial site where the graves were dug all at once. It's located just outside the plain where the Israelites would have camped, so it's exactly where it should be if this is where that story took place. Here too, the Saudis have a sign identifying it as an archaeological site, and it's patrolled by police. The book of Exodus says that Moses built an altar of uncut stone at the foot of Mount Sinai and also set up 12 pillars to symbolize the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right here at the foot of the mountain, we see this structure that resembles an ancient altar. And what we are standing in right now is probably the animal chutes that would lead them to sacrifice at the foot of the mountain. The animal chutes lead to this area of the structure, which may have been the slaughter platform for animal sacrifices. The Saudis, of course, say that this has nothing to do with Moses, but they admit that they found animal waste and bones underneath this area when they dug. People who have been to this site decades ago say that this site used to be much cleaner, and you could more clearly see the remains of about 12 pillars, as well as a stone platform that they would stand on.
Near the altar and the 12 pillars, Moses reads to the Israelites the Book of the Covenant, and they agree to it. This means that Moses probably had a spot right above the altar that served as a stage in order to address the people. Right above this area with the altar and the pillars, there is an area that could have been a perfect spot for Moses to be seen and heard when the covenant is made. A Saudi local actually pointed to this part of the mountain and showed us how Moses' voice would have echoed like he was speaking in a natural amphitheater. The Bible says that a brook flowed down from Mount Sinai, providing water for the Israelites. The brook must have come down near the altar at the foot of the mountain for the sacrifices to take place, and the brook must have come near the golden calf because Moses threw its remains into the river. It's very easy to see where there was once a stream coming down from this mountain, where there's evidence of burnt sacrifices. It then ends up near the possible golden calf worship site. There's even evidence of wells around the area where a pool of water would have formed, proving that a large population once lived there. According to the Bible, the prophet Elijah travels to Mount Sinai, and once he gets there, he goes into a cave, and that's where he talks to God. The real Mount Sinai must therefore have a cave that is accessible, safe, and suitable for sleeping. This cave above the altar is about 15 feet high, 20 feet long, and 20 feet deep. If this is the real Mount Sinai, then this is almost certainly the cave of Elijah. On the way to Mount Sinai, the Israelites camp where there's no water. Moses goes up to a distinct rock and strikes it with his rod, and miraculously, water pours forth for his followers. The historian Josephus said that the split rock could still be seen in his time, and it was so big that it could not have been moved. Is it possible that this split rock still remains today, testifying to the accuracy of this story? The answer is yes, and it is stunning. This split rock was first discovered by Jim and Penny Caldwell, an American couple that was working in Saudi Arabia in the early 1990s. The The local Bedouins have long had two names for this area, the Water of Moses and the Split Rock of Moses.
This split rock is on top of a 100-foot hill and is somewhere between 40 and 60 feet high. And what's really amazing about this specific location in the valley along the possible route to Mount Sinai is that the rocks underneath the split rock are smooth, as if tons and tons of water poured forth, forming a miniature lake at the bottom for the Israelites to drink from. If you have a relationship with a local, they'll tell you that this area is related to Moses. But the Bedouins that live here will try to keep you out.
We saw this firsthand as we were chased out of the area.
Okay, so we are flooring it. We're gonna see if this guy follows us. We heard 2 gunshots. This guy's like, doesn't really want to party.
The Bible says the area near the split rock where the Israelites fought the Amalekites is named Rephidim, which means place of rest. Hebrew inscriptions we found there have been interpreted to say place of rest, the definition of Rephidim. Closer to the mountain, inscriptions have been found that Dr. Miles Jones, a scholar of ancient Hebrew, believes are talking about the battle with the Amalekites. He says one of the inscriptions refers to the death of an Amalekite. Nearby, there are 2 inscriptions that Dr. Jones believes are marking where a Hebrew mother and daughter died. The Bible says that God told the Israelites that they possess the land wherever the soles of their feet touch. Near the split rock and near the mountain, there are many inscriptions with an image of a foot and a sandal. Next to the image, there is Proto-Hebrew writing that means the sole of the foot. We also found inscriptions that were translated and found to refer to Yahweh, the Hebrew name for God. There's another area near the mountain named Wadi Musa, or the Valley of Moses. Here, a depiction of a menorah was found, and it might be the oldest depiction of a menorah known today. Now, a new eyewitness has come forward to reveal that the Saudis have been hiding the evidence of the Exodus since at least World War II. This man was an American pilot who met the king of Saudi Arabia. Bob Cornuke was one of the first people to reach Jabal Maqla in the 1980s, and he recently interviewed that pilot and made the footage available for this video.
It's an honor to meet you.
Well, thank you.
Our lives have intersected possibly in something very historic. And we're talking about where the real Mount Sinai is located. And I had no idea that someone as far back as World War II would have seen the mountain and had been told that the mountain was the holy mountain of Moses. Did any of the Muslims tell you that that was a holy mountain?
Oh yes. I guess everybody in the military knew it was holy.
Yeah.
Well, they forbidden me to fly around it, and it was off limits that I'd be killed either by God or by maybe some of them, I don't know. And when I took off, I was half scared to death. You bet I flew around it.
But it was different than the rest of the mountains because it was black on top?
Oh, it was a blackish green. It was dark enough to be somewhat frightening. You don't know what I really believe. I think it's Mount Sinai. I think God let me fly around it. That's what I think. I think he let you and me both live.
Why haven't we heard about this other candidate for Mount Sinai? Why has almost the entire focus been on the traditional site despite its lack of compelling evidence?
Think about how many things line up with the biblical story right here at this mountain.
There's a beach and path where the Red Sea crossing could have happened, matching the biblical account. You can see how the Israelites could have camped near Elim with its 12 wells and 70 palms. Along the way to Jabal Maqla, there's a split rock, an area suitable for camping. There's a mountain referred to as the Mountain of Moses, with a large plain in front of it where millions of Israelites could have camped. You can see an altar of uncut stone at the foot of the mountain. where there's evidence of burnt sacrifices right where it should be. There's evidence of bull worship, and you can see exactly how Moses would have seen the golden calf worship going on as he came down from the mountain. There's a brook that comes down from the mountain just like the Exodus story says. You can see right where the cave of Elijah might have been. All of these little details have to fit, and they fit. After I came back from the trip, people asked how I felt standing there where so few people have been able to, and the predictable feelings were easy to describe. The adrenaline, amazement, awe, but there was an emotion that was more difficult to describe. I didn't deserve to be there. I'm not someone who's given away his wealth to the poor, I'm not a scientist or a pastor, and there are still days where I feel like I have no faith at all. But then as I looked at the mountains, I remembered something. The Bible has a clear pattern where God doesn't use the best or the most expected. Even Moses was so insecure that he didn't want the job. Rather than using the most qualified, the pattern is that God uses the unexpected, the insecure, the flawed, the depressed, the doubter, the underdog. Every single person can make a difference, especially those that think they can't. As you watch this, the Saudis are constructing a super city that is planned to be 33 times the size of New York. If all of us don't take action, Saudi construction in the area may destroy key evidence and prevent excavation for the foreseeable future. To try to stop these sites from being threatened, we have set up a website and a nonprofit organization to support further research and to convince the Saudis to preserve the sites so they can be saved and investigated. We're entering a period that we have never been in before, one where this footage and other evidence of the Exodus and the Bible overall are only a click away for anyone on Earth with an internet connection. And as these sites are revealed, it will change the Middle East forever and impact the billions of people who follow Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and those with no faith at all. The world is about to change.
That is amazing.
You can turn that off.
This is amazing. How do you all feel? I feel inspired right now. I feel blessed. Oh my God. I saw this. You looking at this pilot who talks about flying from World War II, and then you hear this quiver in his voice, and it almost makes you cry.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's an honor to have been able to cross this path, to be able to see the sighting, the Mount Sinai here. It is just an overwhelming feeling watching this and seeing the biblical reference as a Christian. It's like watching the Bible come to life. And it's such a blessing to be able to even get a taste of this. I'm just overwhelmed. I think this is absolutely beautiful. Great research on this.
Thank you.
And I love how the Bible comes to life. You have the scripture, and then you show the site, and then you show the historical reference, and then you have the inserts from the interviews and all of these things to kind of help substantiate your research. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's exciting to see the scripture and then to see this image of what could have very well been the place where Moses led, millions out of captivity thousands of years ago. It's just, put in a couple questions in the chat. I feel blessed right now. How you guys feeling in the chat? How you feeling, Ryan? Oh man, that's a blessing. How you feeling, Ryan?
I'm feeling good. I love seeing people's reactions to it because that came out in late 2018. So, you
Ooh.
know, it came out a long time ago. So it's been a very long time since I've gotten to talk about it publicly. The site is public since somebody asked. It is accessible now. When I went, tourism was illegal. So we had to do some maneuvering to get in there. But ironically, it was Sharia law, and that lack of freedom is what preserved all that. Because
Wow.
if us Americans and us in the West had control of that, we'd have like a roller coaster going through it. Like that's what we do as sites that we take over. But it's preserved because of the lack of freedom there, and the fact that we were so stuck on the traditional site for so long. That's just where everybody just kind of assumed that consensus was right without revisiting it too much. But it turns out that you look at the old tradition, and the oldest tradition says it's in this spot. The oldest historical site says it's in that spot, and the local Saudis think it's weird that we don't know it. But that's because Saudi Arabia is only becoming part of the globalized world now, and we have the internet and Google Earth to pass this information back and forth. So it's like time. It's like it was revealed specifically for this time in history.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I had a couple questions, one of which I think you answered regarding specifically the artifacts at the bottom of the Red Sea from the army, the Egyptian army. Have you been able to, retrieve items to be able to dive and excavate yourself at the bottom of?
No. Well, first it would be illegal to take anything out of there. And I don't know what you could, because if the theory is true that some of those shapes are because of the coral being around the metal and then dissolving it, but retaining the shape, so only like fragments might remain. I don't know how you can move that. Other people criticize that theory, but then I talked to divers who have been there who have said, no, I don't see this. Something happened here, because I go to other places around the world and it doesn't look like that. Some people like Glenn Fritz, who did like the big study on where the crossing would have happened. He says there's a certain depth. I mean, it's deep, but there's a certain depth where the actual objects could be preserved. But that's expensive, and the permits. I think now we could probably get them. But that would be a funding thing of trying to get the equipment and getting the experts and the scientists together in order to go down there. And it's hard when you can't. This is still not a mainstream. Not everybody agrees this is Mount Sinai. Some people who have seen the film and stick to other candidates. But I think the evidence far favors this one, to the point where any of the sites I showed, if one of those pieces of evidence got debunked, you still have the rest. Like the accumulation adds to it, where you might have a reasonable explanation for what looks like it might be Moses' altar or the golden cat, whatever. But that reasonable explanation becomes less reasonable when you put it all together, and it just so happens to line up with the biblical story, which is treated as a historical record, not a flawless one by experts, but experts who are atheists cite it as a historical record.
Right. And I think that's one of the reasons why I asked about that, because I mean, if you could, you're talking about something that would have been completely untouched for the most part. If there's a chance where people can see some of these artifacts from the crossing of the Red Sea, at the very least, that would be, to me, seeing this piece of artifact, and then it's able to be tested and authenticated to have been a part of, the Egyptian army, from the chariot to a piece of strap, whatever, that would just add to the evidence of this being the path that Moses took. So that would be awesome if we could, but I understand it is child, and that's sort of like the same mindset with the Titanic. That's why they don't want to raise that out, because you don't know what condition is in, and it's pretty much part of the ocean, and ocean life is growing on it. You got the rusticles and all of that happening, but it's why they won't pull the Titanic or parts of it out the water from the ship itself, which makes sense. So I just I just love it. It's like something that should be on a History Channel. Is this on the History Channel?
No, I did have some different places that were interested, like Josh Gates. I forget the name of his show. They reached out to us a couple times, but they ended up not wanting to go to Saudi Arabia and to take that on. But they reached out because a lot of people were reaching out to them. So he's like on Discovery Channel or one of them. But it does air on Newsmax fairly frequently enough that I don't know it when it airs sometimes. As for the one question someone said about was Moses before or after Noah, he was after. And then as for the question of lying, I think there's a combination of, so a lot of the times people, when they lie, it's not because they mean to lie, you know, they believe what they want. So this consensus about where Mount Sinai is and the debate about it isn't mainstream even in Saudi Arabia among the academics. Among the locals, there's no question about it, but you talk to the academics and there's still going to be a bias towards the consensus, and that's true not just of religious stuff. It's like that's just archaeology and science across the board. Everything I've ever looked at, there's a consensus, and then it changes, but only whoever helps change it gets called weird at first. You know, it gets called fringe, and then it grows.
Exactly.
And the dating on a lot of stuff, and like I thought archaeology was a lot more firm in its judgments before I started getting into this, and now I see how virtually every spot on Earth is debated about what it means, and especially the dating. The dating gets adjusted and challenged all the time. So that makes it difficult to say, oh well, this is that and that is that. Like the graveyard there, I've since learned that the Saudis believe it's Neolithic, so they say it's too old. Like the Saudi rebuttal usually is that the stuff that is there is too old to line up with the Exodus, but it also hasn't been examined a lot. Like it's just, there hasn't been much examination or even full examination in most cases. And you do have that bias in there, and they have to be concerned about Egypt too, because Saudi Arabia and Egypt, their partnership is very, very important for many reasons. Saudi Arabia giving any type of official recognition to the real Mount Sinai being in Saudi Arabia is very bad for Egypt, and that's their ally. And it can open up a lot. Like you would have the problem of many people wanting to go there, and Saudi Arabia is a closed society, so you got to deal with that. You'd have to deal with the Islamist extremists who, when my film came out, some of them were saying it was part of an evil Jewish antichrist plot, and there have been death threats towards people who I work with, like a guy named Joel Richardson, and others for getting involved in this. There have been threats to us. Then the Saudis have to deal with that. So they have to deal with jihadists who don't like it, people who do like it coming in mass and having to contain that. They have to deal with Egypt, it being an issue. Israel could be an issue because it's, you know, it's important to them. And then you've got the consensus. So I can easily see why this would be considered problematic. And remember what that one jihadist source I have said. He was explaining, and I did verify this is true, where in like that hardcore Islam, any type of site that, even if it's connected to Muhammad or the Bible, even if whatever it is, if the site becomes worship, like people go there and they sell dirt and they say, oh, it's holy dirt, anything that to them that's offending God, and it has to be destroyed. So if you think that's going to happen at Mount Sinai and you believe that, what's the best thing to do? Not talk about it. Keep people away.
Yeah. And that's the, you know, what's so crazy is that we have to remember these, you know, responses you get from these different countries. They've been at war and at heads with each other for, you know, centuries. They're still warring over land. So depending on who you're talking to, you're going to get a different version or variation of what you believe this to be. Even if you have someone come in and test, then that's going to be an issue. Well, who do we bring in to test? And are they part of this nation or this nation? It's always going to be some level of strife with this. When you have people who are simple researchers that just want to go in and test it to see what it is and not pick a side regarding the politics and, you know, all of the just the historical infighting that's been going on. It's it's been one of those things that's just been a huge hindrance to finding out. Okay, let's just get a sample and test it and find out what the truth is. And they know in the back of their mind, for one country, it might be good for business. For another country, it might be bad for business. So that's what it comes down to. So it depends on who is speaking and who is coming from. With Ryan, he's saying, listen, I'm just coming in based on just the pure research of it all. I want to know what, if we can get it tested. I want to know if this is truly a horse or carriage from the Egyptian army. I just want to find out if this truly is tested to be this the pillars sacrifice, the split rock. I just want to know what does the evidence say, the artifacts. What am I going to get back if we were to do testing on this, and then share that with the people? That's it. And then if you want to say, hey, this is Israel, this is Saudi, or this is, you all go duke it out over there. But we just want the facts. And we want to be able to just stick to the research and leave all the other stuff on the sidelines, because it's been a hindrance for far too long. I think that would be a blessing to find out what do these artifacts test out to be. If they're beyond or they predate, the Exodus, great, but let the evidence tell us that. Let us do the testing so the evidence can show that.
And you know what? Even test results get so debated that I think, I mean, I used to think it was much more solid. Like I said before, you do the tests and then the time period. And then I looked at things just not even biblically related, just like anything. And you're like, there's always some group of people that are saying, no, actually it's wrong. Or like archaeology is just, everything's debated. It's almost more of an art form than a science in a certain sense. But I do lead tours there now. For a while it was once a year, but with everything going on with Iran, I couldn't go this year. And believe it or not, it's safe. Because after the film came out, the Saudi authorities went and had a little talk with the Bedouins.
I was about to ask that. You got shot at.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to hit me. I think they just want to scare me, make me go away. But they were like, that's now on in the world, and the Saudi authorities, I don't know if they threatened them, but they gave them a stern talking to, saying that when outsiders come here, we can't have footage like this getting out. So you got to knock that off. I have been a little harassed in the past, just vocally in that area. But when we go as a tour, it doesn't happen because you're with a group, and like that's only happened when it's been like me and like two other people. And so it actually is very, very safe. A lot of this is in the middle of the desert, so it's not like you're near a military target dealing with Iran. But once the situation with Iran settles down, I'll be going back, and then hopefully some people can join.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So you have, let's see, a website you mentioned at the end where donations can be made, where they're trying to turn this into the super New York City. What?
They were trying, and then it got all messed up. So that's on hold now, if not canceled. It's been scaled back because after Khashoggi, the writer, was killed by the Saudis, or they chainsawed him up into little pieces. There were a lot of sanctions, and people didn't want to invest. Because they felt he had some like Muslim Brotherhood, which is like a radical group, some connections that they didn't like, but he also wanted more openness. So he was a Saudi opponent of the government. The government chopped them up into little pieces. The world found out about it. So then they sanctioned and the investment dropped. And then there was just a lot of a lot of this opening up to the world for the first time. That's new to Saudis. So there were a lot of big plans that weren't fulfilled. It was just a mess. It was supposed to all be like done by 2030. And then it was, it's going to take longer. And then they basically just canceled most of it. My hope is that whole area just stays like that, because it's awesome when you drive in. There's something about driving for a while in the desert. It takes a while to really sink in. Like, this is where probably Moses and the Israelites were. And it's so much more powerful when you're there, not just to visually see it, but geographically. If you follow the Bible, it'll actually say they went east, west, south. Like, there's all these little directions in there. And so as we do it and you run into this stuff, there's just little things you'll notice that aren't even in the film. Just like how in where Jethro probably was, you can see Mount Sinai, what we think is Mount Sinai, off in the distance. Like for some reason, I understand why, but a lot of people are impacted by that when they go, because they go, oh, now it makes sense because there's the well, and then they're where nearby, like across the street, you could say, is where Jethro and that tribe would have been. And then you can see exactly how when Jethro mentions Mount Sinai to Moses, like you can see it right there. You're like, oh, I get it. I can see how that played out right here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was the palms and those 12 wells that did it for me. Yeah. It was just beautiful. I mean, and you like these 70 palm trees sitting in the desert.
Yeah.
It was your first thing most people gonna ask, okay, did anyone just plant these trees here? No, these things, you know how deep those roots go for those trees. It's just amazing to see that spot there. And it's almost like, you know, still preserved. The leaves are still green. It was so breathtaking to see that. And I think, you know, like I said, the biblical reference, and then you see the site line up with the scripture like that. As a Christian, it was just a blessing to see that.
Awesome.
I wish I could hit the lottery. What is it? I'm getting my $7,000 check because, you know, Candace.
I know. I wish that was true. That anti-Semitic propaganda. I wish it was. That's the one piece of anti-Semitic propaganda that I really wish was true.
Not where I can go on a tour. Come on, Israel.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. Oh my goodness. This was amazing. If you guys have any questions in the chat, by all means, please, because we're running up to 8 minutes to 7 and Ryan's got to run. But I wanted to make sure for all of you all out there that have questions, please ask your questions. And if we don't see your questions in the chat, you guys can always leave your comments on the video. Ryan is on YouTube. He's on X. We got to get your plugs in. Where else can we find you?
So any of the social media, it'll either be Ryan Mauro, Mauro, or Real Ryan Mauro. And then if people want to support my work, the website you can donate at now is ryanmauro.com. You can go to the Sinai and Arabia website for research and things like that. But there's a new entity, nonprofit, that I use to try to keep myself able to do these things, because it's not really a paying thing, or if it does, it's not well. So that's kind of what I need to get myself over the hump in order to pay for those type of things, and to keep doing it.
You look, both of us need to hit the lottery then. Come on, Lord.
I think the lottery was called Bitcoin and we missed it. We're about 10 years too late on that.
Like Layla Up Club, you know, you could have had a Bitcoin like 10 years ago. Like, yeah, but then would I have been the first one to go buy a pizza instead of just actually wait?
I know. And you know what's annoying is I went to enough crazy people were like saying they're making money off of it. But everyone was weird who I saw talking about it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go put in, you know, a few $100s. And I went to go do it. And I got so frustrated because I didn't understand, like the website I went to, it was like, oh, you need a wallet. And then like, it just became too much. It looked too much like a scam, but I was kind of okay with like losing it. But it was just complicated enough that I was going around in circles because I didn't understand it. And I was like, all right, whatever, screw this. And if I had just had a little bit more patience,
I would always be set for life. I think that was the thing for me too. I don't want to lose. I don't like losing money. I've never gambled. I have bought a scratch off, but I've never played the lottery. I have never gambled. I can't stand losing money. Like even when I say, and it's not even to be cheap, it's just I don't want to have to pay full price for things I know I can get on sale. It's like, man, that idea of having to do that, even accepting something from somebody like that with crypto, you know, tokens and Bitcoin, all this other stuff. There's so many scams associated with it that I personally reported on. I'm like, I can't fathom myself at this point doing this now. When it first hit, probably.
I have friends who are like crypto professionals and who advise me and stuff. So I've learned a little bit about. I don't understand it. Don't get me wrong, but I've learned a little bit about like which ones are doing well, which ones aren't, and that type of thing. But North Korea and Russia just keep hacking them and just keep stealing all this money. It's like it's like once a month. There's like some massive hack, and it's like, and I personally know people's happened to. So it's not just the exchanges where you go and do it. Like, yeah, they get targeted, but no, it's like the individual. They call it the wallet, like your bank account, you could say. Like people are getting hit all the time just off of what we know, and I know a lot of it about. I know enough about what's not going on that's not been public with Russia and North Korea and organized crime groups doing it. That I can't even imagine what the true totality of it is, but it's happening all over. So it's something like if you're gonna do it, have a separate computer. Don't take any chances with security. Like you gotta be safe.
Yeah, and that's not something. After my research on Novatech, and they scammed $1.2 billion from a crypto scam.
My God.
1.2 billion worldwide. That is how major that crypto scam was. They're looking for these people. Okay. They have at least a federal lawsuit from a private law firm. Then, of course, the New York District Attorney, Letitia James, dropped one on them. The SEC dropped one on them. And the FBI is investigating them. That is how bad. Worldwide. That is what my introduction to this crypto stuff was. Investigating and researching that scam.
Wow.
You will not believe it.
That being said, based on what my friends who know it really, really well, like it's what they do. I would actually advise that people get involved in it, like just a little bit. But just learn a little bit. I mean, I'm happy to talk to people and understand. It's not financial advice, but there's like basic things you have to be ready to lose 90% and not freak out. Like, know that's normal, and you just sit through. And enough people have done so well, so consistently over the 4-year cycle that it goes through that I think it makes sense for people to put a little bit in. But before I run, there was somebody who.
Okay.
Yes, I forget her real name, but I won't say it. But she wants to know: will Candace run to Russia before or after Tyler's trial? I don't know how long the trial will go for. I don't know that stuff well enough. The court and legal stuff like that. But I would say pay more attention to the Macrons, the lawsuit against her with that, and Brian Harpole,
right?
Because that's the one that's good. I mean, she's not getting away from both of those, I don't think. And then that's when she's you'll start to see when it might even be now. Maybe that's why she's freaking out. Like the moment's going to come where she's going to freak out because that's what she does. And then you're going to see the effects of the stress. And you're going to know it's probably coming down on her that I need to go and move my assets or move to Russia, move my assets to Dubai or whatever, or because I'm in real danger. And so, if you start seeing LLCs that she owns shut down or somehow they get detected, new ones opening up overseas, then that's like a really key sign. She's selling the house, liquidating assets. If that all happens at once, then it's go time. But I got to run over to Regina's podcast. So I have to say goodbye to everybody. But thanks for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was a real treat. You guys wish Ryan Mauro well. Thank you so much for joining us, honey. And you have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Y'all, that was amazing. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I'm going to do a separate live stream and we'll go over what's happening with day 3 for the pre-trial. So I'll get ready for that and we'll start that in a minute. But thank y'all so much for tuning in to the watch party here. That video was just an absolute blessing. The music even was awesome. So it's all good. See, girl, you good. You good. We're gonna do another live because we gotta see what happened on day 3 today. What new evidence they're gonna be admitting into the case, and go from there. So if you guys can tune in to the next live, I know it's not pre-scheduled, but tune in. If not, then tomorrow we will be on Gary with Paramount Tactic because we love him. And so I'll get the live stream link and set that up. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow. Either way, We will be there tomorrow, you all, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's get from this one and get into the next one. And I thank you all so much. You guys hit that like button and hype this video on the way out. And until then, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.